Good evening, everybody. This is the Town of Newbury Zoning Board of Appeals. We're here at 12 Kent Way, Whitefield, Mass. It is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. It is 7:35. And we have, we have Chrissy Beaupre, who's our administrative assistant. I'm Eric Spahn, I'm the chair. We have Mario Cannavale, who is a member. We have Michelle Weaver, who is an associate member. We have Jeff Kelly, who is a member. And we have Martha Taylor, who is our town clerk. So with that, Mario, would you please open the first hearing?
First one, Brendan Byron and Jillian Jakowitz, 230 High Road. The applicants are requesting special permit finding for relief from section 97-10D2C, detached accessory apartments of the Newbury zoning bylaws and any other permit relief as may be required under the Town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project in order to raise the existing barn, construct a detached accessory unit to use as an accessory apartment on the property located at 230 High Road, Newbury, Mass. 01951.
How you doing? Brendan Pyburn, one of the owners of 230 High Road. Last time when we came in last month, there was a request for some additional information, which Chrissy just brought up the packets. One of which is a locus map and updated site plans showing proposed utility connections, schematics of landscape areas and patio improvements as well. And then also proposed lighting was added to the architectural plans. I guess I'll start with the site plan. As you can see, we have proposed electric, sewer, and water, all coming from the primary residence. The septic, the sewer is going to be tied into the septic system. At this time, we believe it'll be done with gravity. Again, the electric and water will be coming out of the primary residence as is required by the bylaw. We are proposing to do some shape or form of this patio shown on this plan off the back patio doors out of the carriage house, and then we'll have a landscape buffer around the house with low-lying things like hydrangeas and things like that, like a typical house front garden. Nothing crazy. The trees shown, years ago there was actually a couple trees in this area that got blown apart when they redid the septic, so we're actually trying to reestablish some of that vegetation within the yard. The trees, the species we called out, I believe they're called ginkgo biloba. It's our neighbor has a few of them that line their driveway, and they're absolutely beautiful. So we're really trying to, and we've told them we're trying to mimic their landscape and really carry it into our yard, because our yard has kind of been forgotten for years on the exterior. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's our intent. As we discussed last time, this does include the removal of the driveway that is currently connecting the existing barn to be torn down and our driveway at our house. But as you can see, our intent is to not really separate it with landscaping or fencing or anything like that. It's really just to dress up the area. And keep in mind, it's only from corner of that house to our driveway is only about 140 feet. It's not 700 feet, 1,000 feet away. It's only 150 feet or so. So with that, the other update to the plan was the architectural plans. We added a light, exact specifications, style, model type. It's not really been ironed out at this stage, but we're proposing a light over the patio doors coming out and also a light over the main entry door off the side by the garage. We're not calling for any landscape lighting or anything like that. We understand that that is a very quiet road going out back. We're not trying to light this thing up like a highway. We're really just trying to make it known that there's something there and have it be a nice feature of the area and really upgrade our property, and we think the surrounding area. So right now, people walk by, we have a hole in the roof of the barn, and it's not great to look at. So that's the hope, and that's kind of the plan as we have it right now. Then the locus map is somewhat self-explanatory. I included the dimensions to the nearest abutter that is behind us, which is Miss Suni Goodman, from the nearest corner of the carriage house to her corner of her house is about 450 feet, and she is also elevated probably by about 30 or 40 feet above us. And then to the other direction, the nearest abutter is Nobleport Construction at 236 High Road. He's approximately 100 feet on the opposite side of Emery Street. It's not even a dwelling, it's not a permanent residence, it's basically their workshop showroom for built-in cabinetry and things like that. So with that, any questions you may have, happy to answer.
Great, appreciate the updated drawings.
Of course.
Let's see, so, we did pose the question about, you know, the adjacency of neighbors and understanding. We did ask if there was any lighting or landscaping or patio features, so those have all been documented on the new plans. The utilities are clearly shown as extending from the house to the detached accessory apartment. And again, landscaping, paving, patio is clearly shown. Does the board have any questions on the updated?
Pretty clear.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor that's here?
Me. I'm in favor of it.
Thanks, Dad.
Do you have Dad's name?
Tom Pyburn.
Is there anybody that'd like to speak against? Okay, so with that, we will close the public hearing and we will, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I guess I'd like to make a motion then to grant the special permit based on the individual facts that we were looking for. And it meets the general requirements of 9710 D3, and it also meets requirements of 9710 D10.
Is there any debate or discussion on that? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
Chrissy will draft up a decision, it'll come back before us, we'll sign it, it'll be a appeal period, and then you'll be on your way.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Yep.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Hopefully the rain stops, so it's smooth take.
It was close, but Dad put you over the edge.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought him.
You did.
That's okay.
Any questions?
It's just a draft.
That's why I came.
Otherwise, yeah.
I did have it.
Hand it out.
Okay,
Yeah, I
We
think,
do have it.
you do have it. Sorry, I came up before the hearing and just laid out everything in front of you and didn't tell you. I
I
apologize.
thought I put these in order. Okay.
last meeting, we already granted.
I followed the format for the last 8 meetings,
Yeah.
so
That's what we did, so.
if I was any question,
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got them all here, actually.
Yeah. So we'll instead review the draft next month. I think last month we already granted them the approval, right? And we made the motion to, or we made the motion
to draft the
to
decision.
draft
To
the
draft this.
decision that was favorable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't see any questions, I read it at home.
Yeah.
I did add all the supplemental.
Yeah, and there's just one phrase that I think in each of these needs to be updated. Has everyone read the decision?
I did earlier.
I'm just reading it through, yeah.
Just take a minute to just read the decision and. So, and this was called out in another one, but in section 4, decision 3, or 4, depending on which decision you're reading. These are the conditions. So, any modifications to the structure, comma, other than those approved by the zoning board of appeals, comma, And then I'm wondering if we could edit this to say, by the applicant, comma, the town of Newbury, comma, and through its building department shall require modifications to the special permit.
Okay, I can make that change.
So
I'll make it moving forward also.
it should be, any
Can you say that, can you read that again, Eric?
Sure. Any modification to the structure, other than those approved by the zoning board of appeals, by the applicant, comma, the town of Newbury, comma, and through its building department building department, and if it, I think one of them says conservation commission, shall require modifications to this special permit.
You're adding by the applicant.
I'm adding a comment to separate the phrase that says approved by the zoning board of appeals as being separate, and then saying by the town of
Okay.
Newbury. I think that's
Yeah,
appropriate.
but why would the town of Newbury modify the structure? That's-
We're just saying that anything that's different than we approve by anybody else has to come back
Oh,
before
by
us.
anybody else, so you listed everyone, the town,
The applicant,
the building
the building
department.
department,
Okay.
conservation commission. If there's a way to say anybody, then it comes back.
Anybody?
All parties.
Right, we have something before us and the process plays itself out, and then if something has to change, we'd like to make sure it
It comes back, yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense, Martha?
Yeah, I mean, if there are any changes through any other process, it should come back to you guys for a special permit modification. So you're saying, so
That's a simpler way.
I think we've got some language in.
Just puts the other than the approved by the zoning board of appeals up front, and then lists the applicant, the town, the building department, the conservation commission, or any other
Board or committee.
board or committee.
You tried to call me today from London.
Shall require modifications to this special permit. So then it's covered, and that's the standard language. Does that make sense?
Okay, so by and through its building department or any other board or committee shall require?
Through its building department and or conservation commission, comma, by any other board or committee shall require.
Okay. I will incorporate that in all decisions moving forward.
Okay.
Okay.
So having read the decision that's been drafted before us, having made the motion again tonight, confirmed that with the additional information, does anybody see any edits in the application before us? Our decision before us, right? Nope.
No.
So is there a motion to accept the decision as
I'll
drafted and what's the one proposed
make a
edit?
motion to accept the draft as proposed.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So Chrissy, the motion passes with the edit.
Okay,
If you draft it up and you put it in the box and you notify us, we can independently come in and sign and move it forward.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that one, please.
Tina and Anna Gross, 76 Northern Boulevard. Property at 80 Northern Boulevard. The Office of Attorney Jeffrey Walls, PC, has filed a notice of appeal on behalf of Tim and Andrea Joseph, 76 Northern Boulevard, against the Town of Newbury's Director of Inspectional Services for his zoning enforcement decision dated November 29, 2023, issued to the wards of 80 Northern Boulevard. as being legally deficient. This appeal is brought pursuant to MGL 40A S8 and S15 in the Town of Newbury zoning bylaws 9711B with regard to the property located at 80 Northern Boulevard, Plum Island, Newbury, Mass.
All right.
I received notification after the agenda was posted that Attorney Jeff Olafs would like to continue the hearing to the May 16th meeting.
Do you have an email that you can print for the
I do,
record?
and I will. I will
Okay.
provide that to you.
Is there anybody here that would sign up for this hearing? Nobody. Okay, so with that, is there a motion to a time and date and place for a continuance?
I'll make a motion to continue the meeting till May 16th, 2024 at Newbury Town Hall at 7:30 PM.
A second.
Nope. Michelle, second for the
A
record.
second?
All right, all those in favor? All right, we continue. Well, we had some questions last time, and I had reached out to town council.
Right.
If you had questions, you could reach out to town council, so that we can't discuss them, but it's, the matter before us, I would just say an administrative decision is either to accept or deny the application. And in a case like this, denying the application just means that we are agreeing with the building inspector's direction. If we accept the application, we are accepting the conclusion of the application. There are other issues to discuss when everybody's in front of us as to what those outcomes mean, but it's pretty straightforward as to reading it exactly as we have an application and we're either siding with it or against it. Okay?
Exactly, as the application stands.
Yep. And if you have any other issues, you can please send them to town council so we're not debating it separately and you can.
Do they have to come back with what they want? And
Nope, it's all in the application.
so if we accept the application, then what happens to the conditions of?
To discuss that when they're all in front of us. All right. Yep. Next one, please.
All right, Martha and Teresa Ritchie, 810 Fordham Way. The applicants are requesting a special permit finding for relief of section 97 4G5C01, increase in square footage of the Newbury zoning bylaws and any other permit relief as may be required under the Town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project in order to raise the existing structure at 8 Fordham Way, merge the two lots at 8 Fordham Way and 10 Fordham Way into one lot, and construct an addition to the existing single-family dwelling to remain on the newly combined lot for the property located at 10 Fordham Way, Assessors Map U01 Lot 20, and 8 Fordham Way, Assessors Map U01 Lot 21, Plum Island, Newbury.
All righty. Applicant's here.
Yes.
We have your decision. It's been drafted.
I see that.
The reason it's printed large is Martha had made some comments in review so that we could see them. I've gone through and I have a couple text edits, but nothing really to discuss other than getting some language correct.
Okay.
So we'll read through it and discuss it, but I don't have anything for you.
Okay.
Okay? Everybody read it. Do you mind if I just jump in with mine first? Okay. Part 1, procedural history, 6. You know, all, at the very last, all is made at the public hearing or hearings. There were multiple
You're correct.
hearings. 3, findings and determinations. We go down to H. And I would recommend as you read through this, it says, and will become 5'4" on the newly combined lot. You then strike becoming all the way through the highlighted comment. So all the way through, I didn't think this was allowed.
Oh, okay, just delete that.
Just delete that.
This was, okay.
Yep,
Yep.
and then we would add, and will become 5'4" on the newly combined lot, aligning with a building line already established by existing buildings.
Okay.
Adjacent existing buildings or just existing buildings?
Well, the technicality of the building line, it comes right out of the
Okay, very good.
the text. Already established by existing buildings, so you need buildings somewhere.
Sure.
Under J, at the hearing, the applicant, through their designated representative, presented arguments and testimony supporting their request for a special permit for an increase in the footprint of the existing building structure, period. I would just strike to remain.
Okay.
Excellent job drafting as always.
Thank you, Martha.
Then we're on the next. We're in two specific findings, C4. And I would agree with Martha's comment that it's a little subjective and say that the proposed addition to 10 Fordham Way will be in keeping with modern architectural building techniques. And will be in keeping with the aesthetic style of the neighborhood. Comma. Keep the remainder of the sentence.
Okay.
And then under 4 decision, number 4 is the same sentence or condition that we just discussed previously. It basically says any modifications to the structure other than those approved by the zoning board of appeals, by the applicant, by the town of Newbury, through its building department and or conservation commission, or any other boards or committees shall require modification to the special permit.
Okay, got that.
That's my read of it. Jack?
The only thing that I remember that we agreed against, if I recall correctly, the current ownership is in 2 separate entities, and we had asked that when they combine it, they put it into one entity, and the applicant agreed, but I don't see that here.
Oh, okay.
It says the lots will be merged.
Right, but it doesn't say anything about ownership. I mean,
I think if they're merged, they technically have to have one owner. Right? I think that's a...
if you're comfortable with
No, it's good, we did say that, but I think the fact that it says that they're merged means that they'll become one property. And you can have multiple
owners of one property.
owners of one property, but you can't have 2 entities claiming to own the same property, can you? I mean, it's like having 2 owners. The fact that the lots are now merged and they're combined, instead of being separate lots with a building on it.
I'm not sure I can answer that, but I agree with the concept of merging.
I mean, that's,
So Jack, is your question whether it will be the 8 Fordham Realty Trust or Martin?
No, I don't really care what the name of the entity was, I just felt that it would be cleaner if we had one entity owning the two lots rather than merging the lots with two owners. It seemed a little fuzzy,
The plan is to have one lot, after we merge the lots with one owner, Mark and Teresa Ritchie, that we can't do that though until,
after we give a permit.
That's
That's all I was asking. Should we make that a condition, or are you comfortable with it as it is now?
Someone help me find where it says it's merged, because now I'm like super scanning, not finding where.
It's under 31G.
Yes, 31G.
The applicant seeks to raise the existing two-family residential dwelling on Lot 8 Fordham Way. The two separate lots will then be merged, becoming a newly combined lot at 10 Fordham Way, and an addition will be added, an addition will be built onto the existing single-family dwelling on the newly combined lot.
Yeah, the newly combined helps, so. I withdraw my objections as usual. Chrissy is on it.
Good. All right, who else?
I don't have any comments.
Mario?
No, I don't either.
Okay, so, for all the edits that I made, everybody's accepting? All right, so is there a motion to accept with edits?
So I'll make a motion to accept the draft with the additional edits added to the draft this evening.
All right, is there a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. All right, so Chrissy will draft the edits. As soon as they're done, she'll let us know. She puts them in the box, we sign them. As soon as that happens, your appeal will get,
It'll start the 20-day appeal process where I
Once it's
mail out a notification to your abutters letting them know that it's been signed and they have 20 days from the stamp-in date to file an appeal with the state. On the 21st day, I'll notify you that no appeals were received, hopefully, and that you can come and pick up the decision and have it recorded. And then after you have it recorded, you just give me the booking page number from the registry. You can e-record too, I'll send you an electronic copy so you don't have to drive to Salem. You can e-record it through Simplify.
and when does that 20-day appeal period begin?
So I'll probably more than likely get their signatures next Tuesday night, because we're open
Okay.
until 7, and then I'll stamp it in with the town clerk stamp, and that date, so next Tuesday will more than likely start the appeal, and Wednesday I'll mail out the notification to abutters.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
All set?
all righty,
All set? Thank you
Yep.
very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Edsel and Caitlin Monahan, 36 Northern Boulevard. The applicants are requesting a special permit finding for relief from section 97 4D 5C02 upward extension of the Newbury zoning bylaws and any other permanent relief as may be required under the town of Newbury zoning bylaws. To allow the proposed use project in order to raise the existing dwelling, construct a new single-family dwelling in its place on the property located at 36 Northern Boulevard, Newbury, 01951, accessory map B03, lot 19.
All righty, staff, good.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Douglas DeShane representing the applicant. Recall at the last meeting, we were asked to provide some updates regarding the elevations, spot elevations on the lots. And I believe this was, sorry, let me just check with,
So Doug, to save your voice, so received, let us just review them.
okay.
We have a draft decision in front of us, so we will review the added documents and the decision. If we have any questions, we'll ask you, but it'll be amongst us.
I appreciate that, but I am here to answer any questions you do have, and I have reviewed the decision. I had no questions.
Great, thank you. Didn't mean to cut you off, but just.
Nope, I appreciate it. I appreciate sitting down.
Okay, so there's an existing plan with elevation showing the existing building on the property over the property line, actually. And then there is a new plan showing the building centered on the lot. And below that, there are elevations of the peak eaves, the average elevation, the ground elevations, the average ground elevations, and through that calculation of the peak, the mean roof elevation minus the ground elevation equals the mean total height of the structure. So it's, as long as we have the 32.5 written in the decision as the height.
That, I
Oh, 32.5, right?
you see,
No, I
decision.
don't think
Yep, it's under G, under,
Oh, yep,
Okay.
21 increase from 21, 32, yep.
okay. So the documentation provided to me seems sufficient to do what we asked. It's recorded in the decision correctly as it's recorded on the additional information. Section 4, decision number 4 is again the same condition we've been talking about, any modifications to the structure other than those approved by the zoning board of appeals, comma, by the applicant, comma, by the town of Newbury, by and through its building department and/or conservation commission, by any other boards or committees shall require a modification to this permit. I did not see any other edits. Jack?
No.
Michelle?
Okay.
Mario?
I do have to add supplemental materials submitted, the plan sets to it on page 2.
Okay.
Under 2 submitted materials, I didn't add supplemental, so I just
Okay.
had to add that. Same with 40.
So there were 3 documents submitted.
Yeah. 3 documents, and I wrote them down.
I think you could say supplemental information containing 3 pages documenting the height of the building, period.
I'll put down what the plan is.
Yep, proposed mean
Yep.
height roof calculation.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, with that, is there any other discussion? No, is there a motion to accept the,
Make a motion to accept the draft with additional updates and comments added to the draft this evening.
is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's approved.
Thank you very much.
Chrissy will have that drafted. She'll ask us to come in for signature and she'll notify you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
And on to River Street.
I think 40 Northern, right?
40
40 Northern.
David Tomey, manager, 40 Northern Boulevard LLC, 40 Northern Boulevard. The applicant is requesting a special permit finding for relief from section 97-4D5, C02, upward extension of the Newbury zoning bylaws, and any other permit relief as may be required under the town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project in order to raise the existing dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling in its place on the property located at 40 Northern Boulevard, Newbury, Mass. 01951, Assessors Map U03, lot 194.
Alrighty, so, as per the previous decision and the request for additional information, the exact same format of
Yep.
information for the for the existing mean roof height and the proposed mean roof height are presented. The height, mean height calculates out to 33.7 feet. And once again, 3 findings and determination. 1G says, but will increase from 21.2 to 33.7 feet. And again, under 4, decision 4 is the same correction to any modifications to the structure other than those approved by the zoning board of appeals, comma, by the applicant, by the town of Newbury, by and through its building department and or conservation commission, by any other board or committee shall require modification to the special permit. Is there any other comments, Jack? Michelle?
Nope.
Mario?
No?
She died.
Martha?
The only thing, the owners need to be put in the heading.
Good catch. And then the same sentence under 2, submitted materials and information.
Yes, I would have.
You'll add,
Now, should I be adding those items also to the exhibits to be recorded at the end for both 36 and 40?
I think only the proposed mean height calculation, singular page needs to be attached.
Okay, yep.
The other 2 do not. And if you would make that on the last one as
Yep.
well.
Are we gonna make this a requirement for all documents?
I think at some point, we're gonna talk about the application that we have and how to improve the
Yeah,
application,
this looks good.
how to list what we're doing. And as I showed you earlier, I think we'd like to have a file that has some examples to show people how things should be done properly.
I do send out examples.
So this could be
Okay.
added to the example if they
The height.
so do it. Okay. Any other comments, perhaps, everybody? Any other comments? So is there a motion to be had with,
I'll make a motion to accept the draft with additional comments and updates added to the draft from this evening.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Reading.
Passes.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you for the effort in providing clear documentation.
Mr. Chairman, I have
Yes.
a quick question.
Yep.
The intent, the application is for removing the existing building and putting a new one in the same location, is that correct?
Yes.
But the taller, higher building,
Yes.
exceeding the zoning code, is
No.
that correct?
No, it is not, and that's what we were asking
Okay.
to confirm and prove, only because it wasn't on the previous documentation given to us. We could look at it, and it was stated, but it wasn't proved. And since grades were not provided on a site plan, we had no way of double checking. So that's why the additional documentation was provided.
Thank you.
All righty.
I can also email you a full copy of the filing if you'd like that. If you'd like to review it, I can do that. I just need your email address.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Dirk, D-I-R-K, Casagrande, C-A-S-A-G-R-A-N-D-E. Correct.
All right, and what's a good email address?
Dirk@star.net.
STAR?
Yes.
Perfect. I'll send that out to you
Thank
next
you so
week,
much.
early next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. David and Sharon Broyle, 3 River Street. The applicants are requesting a special permit finding for the relief of section 97-10D2C, detached accessory apartment of the Newbury zoning bylaws, and any other permit relief as may be required under the town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project in order to renovate the existing detached barn garage on the lot, to convert it to an accessory apartment on the property located at 3 River Street, Byfield, Mass. 01922, 2, Assessor Map R19, Lot 59. Continued hearing from 2/15/24 and 3/14/24 meetings received correspondence from applicants requesting a withdrawal of their special permit application without prejudice.
They appreciated your recommendation, and they're not ready to move forward at this time. They're not ready to remove the steps.
Okay.
So,
And do you have an email?
do you have that in email? She sent it to me.
Okay.
And I will email it to you guys and upload it to the file.
Great,
Okay.
okay.
I have the drafted decision, but I was just keeping it in the folder. We weren't gonna go final on it, so I'd already drafted it.
Correct. So is there a motion to withdraw without prejudice?
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw the special permit application without prejudice.
Okay. Second?
I'll say it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty.
Project status and requirement list.
So, Cricket Lane.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
As I'm sure Doug can too, if you can,
Excuse me?
if you want to provide any update on Cricket Lane, or I can just fill them in.
You probably have a better understanding of, what's been going on in terms of meetings with the building department and on-site. I'm here merely because we've asked the board to sign the regulatory agreement. The regulatory agreement is a document that we drafted it originally some number of years ago. You recall this project kind of got a slowdown in the middle. And then, so now we're in the process of what's called final approval. And it's somewhat, well, not somewhat new, but what happens now, as you know, you get a site eligibility letter, then we come before the board for a comprehensive permit, and then, you move on. Now, the state, Mass Housing, is requiring that after you get the comprehensive permit, you have to file what's called final approval. And what they do is they look at the original approvals, the original requests, they look at what the comp permit looks like, and they just make a determination that, all of the terms and conditions, the financial, pro forma, that all of those things are still valid, and that the project that was approved was in substantial conformance with what the client asked the state to approve under site approval. So they just want to see what's happened, make sure everything's still perfect. In our case, we had a nearly 3-year hiatus while we were working with your Conservation Commission, and so a lot of the documents were outdated. The pro forma, the numbers 4 years ago compared to now, so we had to update that. We had to show the state that the project was still within the financial eligibility, that we were still meeting all the requirements. So that's what we're doing now. We're in the middle of final approval, and one of the docs, and one of the more important documents that we need to submit is the signed regulatory agreement, which in short, defines the whole project, the fact that it regulates this project. It defines how they're going to be sold and how they're always going to be affordable. And it's sort of the big backbone document. We drafted that again some years ago. You have to submit a draft when you start the process, and we did that. And then we've recently updated it, although I will tell you, it's not a document that we created. It's Mass Housing dictated. We're allowed to fill in the facts and figures and the names and the details, but in terms of the legal language and the protections, that's Mass Housing. In fact, I had to update that document. We sent it to Mass Housing. They reviewed it. They said that they're accepting of it because they're going to sign it too, right? My client will sign it. This board will sign it, and then they'll eventually sign it. However, I did submit the stuff. And as is typical and expected, town council wants to review that before you guys are given the green light, so if you so should choose. I know I was a little late in getting some information out, but I know town council has it. I've been working with Martha, to answer questions and provide additional information that's been asked. I actually reached out to town council, Martha, just to explain what we're doing. You had asked if I could either give you a red line of the of the regulatory agreement or proof that Mass Housing approved it.
That was Lisa's request, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was Lisa's request. As I explained, as I responded to everyone, I don't have a red line because we didn't really redline the document, we just took a form and plugged some stuff in. But I did find today the email from Mass Housing saying, here is the regulatory agreement, please get it, you need 3 signatures, don't change anything. And I'll pass that on to Lisa, but I'm sure Lisa has done, I know Lisa's done a lot of these projects, and she's, she knows that I don't get to play with that document, none of us do really, but again, I appreciate town council's efforts and all of your efforts, Martha, so just here to start this process of getting you to sign the regulatory agreement. I do understand if you haven't received a full report from Lisa, you're probably not inclined to sign it. But what I would ask the board to consider, as I think Martha and I may have talked about, I know we talked about emails, perhaps the board could, make a decision or a direction that pending receipt of approval by town council, you'll sign it. So you don't have to do that at a public hearing at a meeting. So in essence, we wouldn't have to wait till May. That, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, right? Am I saying this right, Martha, that assuming town council is okay, you could sign it at your leisure?
Right, the signatures need to be notarized, so we can't just leave it in the box for you. You would have to come in, and Gretchen is a notary, and she could notarize your signature.
Okay, so that's understood. And as we move forward, we will have on the agenda, as we go through this process, other business, Cricket Lane, 55 R Pearson Drive, project status and project requirements list. Because there are a series of conditions. There are different entities in town that put some of these conditions on it. Obviously, we're looking for Martha to you to help be our ears and eyes for this process. But we'd like to make sure that this stays on the agenda to make sure that all the conditions are checked off as we go forward. And if there's any questions or things that arise, it's on the agenda from now until we get done with this thing.
That's fine. I know those conditions are part of your comprehensive permit. And so when we, once we get through final approval and can start the project, we will be satisfying those conditions as we go. Or prior, if anything that's required prior to building permits, we'll have to satisfy prior to getting the building permit. But right now, we're just trying to get the final approval from the state. And in terms of that, I think Martha will agree. Mr. Erickson is a pretty hands-on developer. He's met with the town. He's submitting things as required. He's just a straightforward, honest guy, and I expect it'll be a good relationship with the town. So, Mr. Chairman, by all means, that's great. If we have any issues, I'll make sure that I'm here at the meetings to discuss them. Or if you request that we provide a written, sort of monthly written thing saying here's where we are and here's what we've done, I'm happy to do that too. And I know Mr. Erickson wouldn't have a problem with it. So
we may ask for a status report. I was thinking that if in terms of publishing our agenda, if something has gone through Martha, you could add what that simple status is under the general heading so that there's some inclination of what's going on. And we're haven't done this in town before, we're going through it, so we're just trying to be as transparent as possible. And if you have an issue that's for us, then
Sure.
you can contact Chrissy. Chrissy can also then put that on the agenda, and then it's there as part of the record. So,
Hoping that won't be the case.
yeah, I'm hoping too, but I'd just like to set up the process
Things
to
happen.
allow the documentation and understanding and it's on there, and we could say there's no new business and move on, or there could be stuff underneath it. And we have we need to complete what we started, we need to be part of the process, we're just not leaving it to Martha, we need to be part of the process.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are the approving body, so it's really,
Right. And we need to keep up to speed with what's going on so that, we're not surprised by it, that's all. So
Well,
don't expect
again,
it
to the extent I or my client can help do that, we will do it.
Great.
Mr. Erickson's a very upfront guy.
So we are waiting for Lisa to send to you, Martha, a communication that says she's reviewed this letter.
the regulatory agreement and the exhibits, and approves them or has, amendments, and I think she wanted to, to ensure that any changes like filling the blanks was consistent with the Mass Housing's requirements and all of that stuff.
So when that comes in, and then Chrissy will send out notification to us to come in and sign it, and it has to be during business hours so that it can be notarized.
Right. So if you're coming in anyway to sign another decision, if it's on Tuesday, between 5 and 7 or whatever, we're open, so Gretchen could notarize.
And we expect, we assume Lisa will have it done within a week or two, something like that?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Okay. All right. we're
Hi, guys.
informed.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate your help tonight.
So a few other
Battling
things.
back.
What I handed out tonight, as you recall, the town council had put together a listing of all the conditions and the status, and Mr. Erickson has done the same, so.
Or does he have that same format?
It's pretty similar, so what I haven't done yet is gone through and just make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of everything that needs to be done, so we can do that. And then the other things that were dropped off were to satisfy two of the conditions. One was identification of the wetland scientist who's going to be monitoring the work on Cricket Lane LLC's behalf, and the other is the phasing plan, which also shows the affordable units, which are colored in yellow. And my understanding, this has been approved by Mass Housing.
Mass Housing, yes.
So we'll check off the conditions as they get met and kind of keep a running list of that. The other thing, Mr. Erickson has requested that we set up a pre-construction conference, and I didn't know whether any of you would want to be in attendance at that. Typically, it's our review engineer and staff.
Yeah, I mean, if it, I don't know, I doubt I have the time for it. It would be something I would like to show up for, but I probably can't. Unless it's like, I don't know, Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. or Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Or Tuesday night at 7 p.m. But
Still
feel
way
free
out
if you want to understand and I just ask, why don't you notify us?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Plan for the town boards and committees per your convenience, Martha, and then notify us, and if we can make it, that'd be great.
That sounds good.
And I think just, it's obvious, the one thing that should be stressed, and probably will be stressed, is that you're adding to an existing neighborhood, and the means for construction, access, the subcontractors coming in and out, the cleaning of vehicles before they leave the site, should be as respectful as should be very respectful to the existing residents of Newbury that live there.
Yep, no, and I know that's gonna be a requirement of our permit, so. And I will tell you, I've done 7 of these projects with Mr. Erickson in 4 different towns, and you'd be welcome to call any of those towns. He really is, a good developer. He keeps his site clean, he keeps his vehicles clean, he keeps his impacted neighbors down. That's just the way he is. So I expect he'll be that way here, and we will meet all of those requirements. If, over the course of the next couple of weeks, especially as the weather gets nicer, if anyone does want to come out and see the site, just have Chrissy contact me, and we'll, either I or one of the engineers or Mr. Erickson will meet you out there. It's a beautiful piece of property. Be nice if you want to go out and see it. We'd be happy to show you.
I think it'll be interesting to, and we all should probably go out there after the tree clearing to take it all in with the site plan in hand to understand what we've been looking at. I know personally that looking at a lot of plans and actually then standing on the site, the sense of scale and space it is different, and it would be a good, I don't want to call it learning experience, but it would just help with a development like this that we don't normally see, for us to put the site with the plan to just better our experience for the future.
Site visit, group site visit.
Group site visit, yep.
Let me know. We'll set it up.
Cider and donuts.
And it can be Saturday morning. How's that? And there's always
Just might
coffee
have to be.
at Saturday morning site visits. Well, thank you very much.
Yep,
Let's have a
thank
good
you.
night here.
Thank you. Any other business?
No other business. Is there, Martha, anything else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Wait, do we have, was that a public hearing? Do we have to close that one?
No, it's other business, and it's not a public hearing, and
Thank you.
so, again, the difference is when we have a public hearing and there are people in the room, we have to allow people an opportunity to speak. If we have a regular committee meeting and there's public here, we don't necessarily have to allow them to speak. We can set the conditions. There's a whole bunch of people here, everyone wants to talk about something. We have a half hour, you get 1 minute each. Start, and we can put some controls on it. So there's a big difference between a public hearing and a board meeting that we've announced, and the public can always attend, but they don't have to, I don't have to allow them to participate in our discussion. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Is there a second?
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.